What's up, everybody? It's Dylan Ashcraft from Ellipsis TCG here, doing a deck profile for you guys. This is the deck that was featured in the video that went up yesterday, March 30th. Or, sorry, 31st. The Piccolo Surge Maidens deck. This deck's really fun. It's one of the things I've probably been playtesting the most since Draft Box 5 came out. It wasn't a deck I was really expecting to enjoy all that much, but the more and more time I keep playing the deck, it's a lot of fun. Figured we'd do a face cam, webcam thing today, just as a little bit of difference, and also just to show off I'm rocking the old Ellipsis TCG logo. That's version 1 of the logo, back when we first started off. So let's dive into the deck. First off, we have 4 copies of Dimension Magic. I mean, it's the best blue negate that, it's the best negate that blue has access to. The sparking effect is really relevant right now, plus, untapping 2 energy. With as much aggro as there is in the format, it's really good just to get that energy back. We got 3 copies of Senzu Bean. Now, in the video, I played 4. Well, Joe played 4. I didn't play the deck. But this was a cut or a trim that I made in the attempt to fit in a copy of a different card that, honestly, if it could go back to 4 Senzu Bean, again, like I said, with a lot of aggro in the format, Bean helps you deal with the Boo shenanigans, because you bean your leader up after you awaken, and then the 4-drop doesn't get to swing twice unless they have 1-drops on board to combo. Plus, you just get to extend your plays and just all kinds of general stuff that we know why Bean's good. 4 copies of the Checkland. Android 17 is one of the Checklands that, is okay to play as well, because it's once per turn, aka once per game effect. When your opponent combos, you just choose up to one of those cards and you place it in the bottom of its owner's deck, meaning you just get to kill a combo, and that's really good. Sorry, I'm getting messages from the team. 4 copies of Android 18 Bionic Blitz. I think this card is probably the best green super combo at the moment, or at least for this deck. Paragus is really good, and I'm back and forth between doing a 2-2 split of Paragus and Android 18. But I feel like in testing Bionic Blitz, it's just put in a lot of work. Plus, it's also, I mean, Paragus is as well, but they're both targets to summon off the Rabarana, Ribrianne, and Zerloin effects, which we'll get into a bit more later. Good old DBS decks, putting them in the most important part of it. It's now at the bottom, so we're just going to talk about the generic stuff before then. Also, it's a free combo for the Seeker Rare to arrival that in, and that's pretty good. 2 copies of Hidden Potential. It's a really good counterplay. I like it a lot more than I like Vegeta the Cruel right now in the format, just because there's not a lot of deflect things I'm necessarily worried about. There is Obuni. Obuni is a absolutely insane card, but Vegeta doesn't touch that either. In theory, you can Hidden Potential the tokens, I believe, no, because the energy costs 4 less. They don't have energy costs. It would be great if you could, but Denial of Hope should hit it. Not the point. We got 1 copy of Ultra Instinct Son Goku the Unstoppable. I think in the video I played 2, but this is just more experimentation. I'm doing a 1-1 split between this and Hit Deadly Vanguard. Personally, I think Hit Deadly Vanguard's a little bit better right now. It's a 3-drop instead of a 4-drop, and it hits 2 cards on the field. Granted, it doesn't replace itself, which is kind of rough, and, you can't UI, or you can't Denial of Hope or Hidden Potential UI. That's completely wrong. What am I trying to say? This is what happens when you make a video right after class, right after physics. You can't Battering or Swift Retaliation Cooler UI is what I meant. You can Denial of Hope them, Hidden Potential them all you want, because the counterplay prevents the card from getting played. But a 1-1 split right now is pretty good, just because UI hits targets that Hit doesn't, and then Hit hits more targets that UI does, or than UI does. 2 copies of Android 21 Bad Omen. This is just a win condition for the deck. You charge in your energy, you summon it, you do 1 damage. There's a cute combo, or at least playstyle combo that I like to do with the deck. I'll get to once we get to other cards. The 1 Deadly Vanguard. The Seeker Rare is SS4 Vegeta Peak Primitive Power. I fluctuate between this and Big Smoke Dragon, because I think Smoke Dragon's the best Seeker Rare in the game right now. But for now, I enjoy Vegeta as a card, so this is kind of like, I just want to play it. And this is the best deck to play it in my opinion. When the Vegeta Planeswalker or Munition Warrior comes out, I believe the deck switches over to Smoke Dragon, because if Vegeta's on the board and his effect is procced, you can't summon Peak of Primitive Power, which is upsetting, but it's just the way it is. 2 copies of Cell's Earth Destroying Kamehameha. This version of the deck focuses a lot less on hand control than the versions that were played at events lately. It still does a bit of hand control between like this, the 2-drop Ribrianne, Rabarana, and the super combo, but you're not spending your turns solely dedicating yourself to hand control. There's just things that I think you'd rather do. So like, once you establish Jammy's on board, we'll talk about that later, like you have plays that I'd rather just spend the energy open, or spend more of my energy for, instead of just holding energy open for 4 Kamehameha. 2 copies of Pretty Black Hole. This is a really cool negate that came out in the draft box. So you negate the attack, then you can choose one of your battle cards, negate its skills, then kill it, or place it in its owner's drop area. And if you do that, you draw a card, and then you can choose any of your opponent's non-token battle cards that cost less than or equal to the energy cost of that card, and kill it. Which is pretty cool. It's one of the cute plays that I've done with it is like, my Super Saiyan Vegeta got deborted, so it couldn't attack. And I was like, alright, cool, whatever, pass. Or do the rest of my attacks and pass. And then my opponent swung in, and I was like, alright, Pretty Black Hole, kill the Seeker Rare, kill your board. And he was like, oh, okay, cool. You can also use it to kill other Seeker Rares. Just a interesting card. I don't think it's amazing, but it's something that I've been wanting to test since it was revealed, so wanted to try and fit it in the deck. 2 copies of Shocking Death Ball, really good. Like I said, Sparking Negates are really good right now. Plus, the 2-drop removal is really strong for decks like Boo. You can catch people off guard if they swing at the 2-drop, and you're like, alright, cool, kill it. And if they tapped out for that 2-drop that turn, or they don't have like the Malicious Mimicry in deck, or they don't have the 1-drop Bobbity, you are set. You just killed their turn. 3 copies of Universe to Assemble. We're slowly getting more into the Maiden stuff. Activate main, draw a card, then you get to Foolish Burial, when we use the Yu-Gi-Oh term, or Yu-Gi-Oh card, to send a Universe 2 card from your deck to your graveyard. So typically this is used in conjunction with Ribrianne Punishing Passion, which is the Warp 2 if your leader's green, or Tap 2 if your leader's green, your opponent discards 2 cards. But you can use it to send extra copies of Jammy's, Rabarana, Katsuna, stuff like that, if you want them to drop to summon off the other cards. I think this card could go down from 3 to 2 copies, personally. If you wanted to push another Bean in, that's probably the card you cut down for it. I played 3 in the video, or 3 was played in the video. 2 copies of Master Roshi, Kamehameha Origins. Tap a green. If your leader's green, you can warp him from your drop, and then choose 1 green extra card in your drop area to add it to your hand. There's a lot of targets for this, and at first I wanted to cut the card because it was like, alright, do I really want it? But you need more green targets for your energy, that way you don't just have dead cell Kamehamehas in your hand. And also just being able to bring back the Kamehameha, Pretty Black Holes. Shocking Death Ball is actually really good to loop right now. And then Universe to Assemble, or Universe to Assemble, you could just add it back, draw more cards if you need to. Moving into the main stuff, we have 2 copies of the Punishing Passion. Like I said, you sack this off the Universe to Assemble, and then you can tap 2 green, warp it from your graveyard, and then your opponent discards 2 more cards. So that in conjunction with like the leader effect, or if you tap 2 to play Raparana in the same turn, you can do a good amount of hand control. Next up, we have 4 copies of Teleporting Jammy's. This is what allows the deck to do all of its bullshit, as my teammate refers to it. So permanent, reduce the energy cost of main squadron cards in your hand by 2. And activate main, you can discard a card from your hand and then warp Jammy's. And then he comes back at the start of your next turn, which is kind of cool. It does open itself up to more counterplay. So like if your opponent doesn't have the counterplay for Jammy's when you play him on your turn 3, they very well could just hold it until he replays himself. And it's just not a good feeling, but sometimes you just have to warp him to protect him. But it's cool. Like I said, the energy cost reduction hits all 4 of the following cards. You still have to pay specified cost, so you can't like cheat stuff in for free. but if you play the old Zeno leader, you can do that. So we got 3 copies of Katsuna Beastly Maiden. It is a 4-drop counter attack, negate the attack, play this card. Permanent, if your leader's green, it's your opponent's turn. It reduces the energy cost of the card in your hand by 2. So just by being Piccolo, it's already a 2-drop. Jamise in conjunction with it, I've said conjunction like 4 times. Jamise with Katsuna makes her a 1-drop. And this being a 1-drop negate is really strong because it's a 1-drop 20k body that when you play the card, you get to choose which one of your opponent's battle cards and kill it. So like if your opponent swings leader first, you can tap the 1 energy, play her, kill your opponent's Raiders Warcry Bardock that they haven't swung with yet, and then you have a 20k body on board. And it's just a lot of good like pressure back that you can apply from it, and it's just a really good card overall. I played it at 2. It was played at 2 in the video. That's what I bumped the 3 for this though, just because it felt really strong in testing, and I wanted more copies. I want more copies of it every time I play the deck. 2 copies of Robinra. I'm never gonna pronounce this card. Robinra. Main devotee. When you play this card, your opponent chooses 2 cards in their hand. They discard them. So a 2-drop 20k. Your opponent discards 2 cards. Really strong turn 4 play if you don't have any of the following cards. And when he's removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill or KO'd, you get to choose up to 1 green battle card with energy cost of 3 in your drop area, 3 or less in your drop area, and play it with its skills negator for the turn. So typically what you do is you can summon either the 2-drop Ribrianne because it's just a 15k beater, Jamise because that reduces your card's costs even further, at least for the 5 drops. Or you can summon back super combos like I talked about earlier. And that's typically what happens is you summon back the Android 18 super combo because then you can just have a free 10k and allows you to defend yourself in case you get caught up in a situation. Next up is 3 copies of Ribrianne Avatar Perfection. This is like the main kill card of the deck besides the Secret Rare. It becomes a 3-drop because of Jamise. It's triple strike, it's permanent if your leader card is green, and this card is in rest mode. Your opponent can only attack this card. Now note, it doesn't say your opponent's battle cards, it says your opponent can only attack this card, meaning their leader has to swing there, and that's a really strong effect. We've seen it before and with like other decks with Bergamo, Deadly Defenders. It's just really good overall. But auto when you play, it does more. This card just keeps doing things, and it's absurd, especially because it's so cheap right now. Auto, when you play this card, choose all of your opponent's battle cards, ignoring barrier, and kill them. So you can see it in the Zamasu video. Joe plays the Ribrianne. Jason has an entire board of blockers that would be able to protect him, and he just kills them all. And then his triple strike gets the swing in for free. Except for I think he had to negate the turn it got played, but still, like, it's a triple striker. And then when Ribrianne dies, either by opponent skill or KO'd, you get to choose up to 1 green battle card that costs 4 or less in your drop area and play it with its skills negated for the turn. So again, you can summon Robirana, Katsuna, Jamise, or any of the other targets we talked about earlier. Again, usually just bringing back a super combo to defend yourself. And yeah, and then next up is the card that actually spurred this idea was Zerloin, Maiden Supporter. So when you play that card, or you play this card, you choose it to 1 green battle card in your hand with energy cost of 4 or less and play it. So typically that seems okay. You're tapping 5 to play him and Robirana or Katsuna or any of the other 4 drops introduced in the draft box. But with teleporting Jamise, making everything in your hand cost 2 less than what it actually is, Ribrianne's now a 3-drop, meaning Zerloin can play Ribrianne for free. So you get 2 30k bodies, one of which is a triple striker, and one of which clears your board. It's a really strong effect, like in tandem with one another. And then again, this card just continues to do more. So auto KO this card when one of your opponent's cards attacks. Again, not battle card. Your opponent can't attack with battle cards for the turn. So if your opponent swings with their leader at Ribrianne, you can negate and then KO Zerloin. And then your opponent can't attack for the rest of the turn unless they can restand their leader. And then just like Ribrianne and Robirana, when he dies, you get to choose one of your when he dies by card effect or KO. Choose a 1 green battle card with energy cost of 4 or less in your drop area and play with its skills negated. So it does say KO, so Zerloin can trigger himself, which is cool. So you can protect your board, summon Robirana or any of the cards mentioned before, and then you protect yourself for the turn. I think this deck's really good. I would potentially consider taking it to an event if personally if Surge Q wasn't in the format. That's more so just a preference thing. I'd rather play Surge Q than I would play Piccolo. But it's a really good deck. I really recommend trying it out on Untap or Octagon, or just if you have people you can play with in person. Try it out. A lot of fun. Pretty cheap overall, too, besides like a couple of the cards here at the Secret Rare, and I think Ultra Instinct's still pretty high. But other than that, definitely worth checking out. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and all that stuff. Let me know what videos you guys would like to see, and have a great time.